Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you guys are having a better day than the markets are today. Jeez, what a bad day today was. Okay, so we're going to get into the markets, see what happened there. S&P was down, Dow Jones was down, NASDAQ was down, Bitcoin was down, Ethereum was down. Miners were all down today. It was just a nasty day. We'll take a look at what's going on there. And then we also have a lot of stories to cover as well. So there's a lot of news going out. Bitfarms, they're paying off a lot of their debt. We'll take a look at that. Mawson continues to build out. Well, those are going to be pretty two quick stories. Argo, we have the CEO leaving as well, and then we also have pretty much, I think this is going to be the last production update for January. We'll get into the statement that they provided there, and they also have, production update. And we got Terawulf production update and Cleanspark Q1 2023 production financial results. So we'll get into all of that, and it's going to be, it might be a longer video than usual. As always, there's going to be the timelines or the chapters down at the bottom of the video. You guys can skip over to the ones that you want to see, okay? But as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Don't fall for scams. And I'm invested in following coins and companies for full disclosure. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out. And let's get into the markets here really quick because we got a lot to go through. So here we go. S&P was down 0.88% today to 4,081. Dow Jones was down 0.73% to 33,699. NASDAQ was down 0.91% to 12,381. Bitcoin was down today. I mean, you can see this nice wick down. It was a bad day for Bitcoin. It was down 5.07% today to a close of 21,800. We hit a low of 21,700 and a high of $23,011, roughly. If we look at the RSI here on it, let's bump this up a little bit. You can see here that the RSI is at 47 right now. Last time we were at this range was right around here. Price at that point was much lower at 16,000, so we're still looking good on the RSI. I think this is just a break that we needed, a little relief rally, and that's fine, I think, as long as it doesn't go below our support line here of 21,300. If we look at the 4-hour chart, we can see here that the RSI is in the oversold territory right now at 24. Last time we were at this range was not for quite a while, at least. Yeah, I mean, we're going back all the way to here, where Bitcoin price was much lower at that point. The closest one we get to is right around here on November. Price at that point was around 15,897. So we've gone quite a ways up, and we've just needed a little bit of a relief here to potentially continue our trend going up. On the 1-hour chart, you can see here that the RSI is also really low at currently 20 here. Last time we were this low was back here, actually. So it's not looking too good here on the 1-hour chart, at least right now, because the price was higher at that point. If we go far enough back, we'll have to go quite a ways back, I think, to get down to the 20s again. And this was back here, and this was over in December, where the price at that point was around 17,000. So, I mean, short-term wise, we're not looking too good here because we have fallen so low. So we can do that. There we go. We fell to a low of about 16.3 on the RSI, which was right around here as well. And this is just a continuation of the drop here. So I'm hoping that we get a little bit of a reversal where we start going up. But let's take a look at right now on Ethereum here really quick. And we can see here on the on the daily, it was down today approximately 6.37% to a close of 1,545. We hit a low of 1,524 and a high of 1,656. Now, the RSI is at 47 right now. Last time we were back here, price was lower at that point, so we're looking good on the daily chart still. On the 4-hour chart, we are now at about 28. We are in the oversold territory. Last time we were this low was way back over here. Price at that point was around 1,180 or so. And then the 1-hour chart, we can see here that the RSI is, I mean, we went way down low today at 14. We are at 21 right now, which last time was back here. But if we go to the bottom of it, the prior time we were that low was, gosh, quite a ways back it looks like. We're all having to go all the way back. It's been a while. I mean, that's as far as my graph will go right now. So the closest that we got to it was maybe back here, and at that time price was around 1,160 or so. So this might be just a good relief rally, letting off a little bit of steam that we've built up here in the last couple of weeks, going up in price pretty quickly. So we'll see if we get a reversal on this or not, okay? Now, miners. Miners also had a pretty bad day today. They were down quite a bit here. So ANY was down 5.22% to 39 cents. Argo was down 13.3% to $1.89. Bit Digital was down 11.11% to $1.20. Bitfarms was down 10.8% to 96 cents. Cypher was down 9.55% to $1.52. Cleanspark was down 5.26% to $3.24. Cores was down 15.67 to 28 cents. DigiHost was down 9.93 to $1.36. DMG was down 13.51% to 21 cents. Greenidge was down 13.25 to 62 cents. Hive was down 13.45% to $3.09. Hut 8 was down 14.88 to $1.83. Iris Energy was down 10.36 to $1.86. Marathon was down 12.63% to $5.95. Mawson was down 4.01% to $3.14. Riot was down 13.34 to $5.65. Soluna was down 2.2%, down to 35 cents. They were down the least, it looks like. Wolf was down 6.32% to 66 cents. So, straight up red day in the markets today for some reason. And we'll see how this goes into tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Okay, so let's get into our first story here, which is going to be, before we do that, let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick. So network hash rate has kind of balanced out a little bit here at 277 right now on the 7-day average. On the 1 day, it has, it's spiking up a little bit now. It's 316 million from the bottom that we reached here, 269. So it looks like miners are getting plugged in. All right, let's take a look at our first story, and we'll go from there. So Bitfarms, this is actually really good news. Bitfarms pays off 21 million debt obligation for 7.75 million in cash. Don't know how the heck they pulled this off to pay off $21 million for only basically a third of that, but they did it. So this is payment on unencumbered 6,110 miners, which is good. And here's the details. So Bitfarms has modified its loan agreement with BlockFi Lending to settle all outstanding principal and interest due, totaling 21 million for a single cash payment of 7.75 million. I wonder if this is because BlockFi, I think, is going through bankruptcy and they just wanted to settle on something instead of getting miners for it. So this might be the reason for that. Let's see here. Our remaining debt, mostly secured by new high-efficiency mining equipment in Quebec, matures on or before February 2024, enabling us to be debt-free before the next halving event expected in May 2024. And a look, so this is actually really good news there. Let me see here. So they paid off about 85% of their debt that they did have. They were at a high of 165 million in June of last year, and now they're down to only 25 million today. So that is definitely a significant decrease in principal and interest obligations for them. And on February 8th, which was, I believe, yesterday, BlockFi retired the BMS loan in its entirety and discharged all further obligations for consideration of 7.75 million in cash. Subsequent to the settlement, all of BMS assets, including 6,100 miners, are unencumbered now. So that is great news. So congrats to them for being able to pull this off. This is fantastic. This will definitely help them out going forward and pretty much make them, be able to generate a lot more revenue. They don't have to worry about paying off the other part of the debt. So this is great news. Okay. Next is going to be on Mawson. So Mawson Infrastructure Group breaks ground on Sharon, Pennsylvania 120 megawatt Bitcoin mining facility. They announced today that it has broken ground on the company's latest Bitcoin mining operation in Sharon, Pennsylvania. The first 6 modular data centers capable of holding and operating up to 3,528 ASIC miners and handling approximately 12 megawatts have been installed. The site has a total capacity of 120 megawatts, which is capable of housing and operating up to 35,280 AC miners, with those miners capable of producing up to 4.2 exahash per second. I'm guessing those are going to be the 140 terahash miners that they're possibly talking about. And here's a picture of the pods, or whatever you want to call them. What do they call those? I'm just going to call them pods. These are the units. It looks like they do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly 6 here already getting installed and getting ready to energize. We'll see when that happens. So this is actually really good news, not only for Mawson, but also for, Bitfarms paying off their debt. Mawson's continuing to grow. So this is good news, especially as we're getting into this next bull cycle potentially with Bitcoin going up in value. So congrats to those guys. And let's take a look at our next story, which is going to be on Argo. So there is some changes in Argo happening right now. And it looks like they are kind of, some people are, it looks like maybe are giving up. So Argo Blockchain PLC announces directorate change. I think we saw somebody from the board leave as well. And this is for Peter Wall. So Peter Wall is stepping down from his position as Chief Executive Officer and Interim Chairman to pursue other opportunities. Argo intends to engage an executive search firm to assist with the process of selecting a Chief Executive Officer and will update the market in due course. The board has appointed Chief Operating Officer Saif Balki, CFA as interim CEO, and Mr. Wall has agreed to remain as an advisor to Argo over the next 3 months to support the transition. Matthew Shaw has been appointed chairman of the board right now. So they are, they've had some problems. They had to sell off their facility in Texas to Galaxy Digital. And, well, it kind of seems like their growth has somewhat faltered here from where they were planning on growing. I'm not going to go over this. We also have a board resignation here. That's where it was. Sarah Go has resigned from her position as non-executive director of the board due to health reasons. So she's resigned from that. And that is it. So that's not good there for them. And we'll see where they end up at. But we also have some more bad news here, at least for me concerning covering Argo going forward. So this is in their January production update for Argo. They go into it here, and we'll get into the numbers here shortly. But Argo will no longer disclose mining profit on a monthly basis. It will no longer include the non-IFRS reconciliation table and its monthly operation updates. So I don't know what that means. I'm guessing that they're not going to disclose what they're generating monthly. And if that's the case, they're basically stopping the monthly updates at that point. If that's the case, well, I'm not going to be covering them anymore because we really rely on that information to keep everyone up to date as far as how the miners are doing. And if they're not doing that, well, then we don't have the data to go by, and they're going to be providing it on a quarterly basis, it looks like. Okay, so that's the bad part here for that. But let's take a look at their operations for January. So during the month of January, Argo mined 168 Bitcoin or Bitcoin equivalents, which is an increase of 14% compared to 147 in December. So that's at least good there. And as of January 31st, the company held 115 Bitcoin or Bitcoin equivalents. The company's total hash rate capacity continues to be 2.5 exahash, and they're pretty much stuck at that for the past couple months here. Okay, excuse me. So the company continues to work closely with Galaxy Digital Holdings as they take over operations at Helios. Due to the change in ownership of Helios, this is why they are no longer going to be providing monthly updates, it looks like. The company will continue to provide these figures on a quarterly basis and in its financial statements. So there we go. Then they talk about a lawsuit here, and that is it for them. So let's take a look at what we have for them as far as possibly the last production update that we will do for them. And we'll probably just keep an eye on them, see what happens if they start providing those monthly updates and they start growing. Well, then we'll revisit this. Okay, but here's what we got for them right now. So let's take a look at Argo. Argo right now has 61 million shares outstanding. Stock price is old. I didn't get this updated today. So this is from yesterday at $2.18. Market cap was 133 million. Excuse me. My throat is starting to kill me. Let me see here. Current hash rate, 2.5 exahash. They are tapped out. They're 100% installed with all of their miners. They're not growing at all right now. I don't even see a path for them to grow forward. But we'll see. Things still can change for them. Okay. They reported, what did they report? 141 or 115 Bitcoin HODL. I need to update that. 115 Bitcoin HODL. And that's valued about 2.6 million. It is about 2% of their market cap and 4 cents per share, looks like right now. So ever since August, you can see here, August was their best month as far as BTC production is concerned. They were at 235, 215 in September, 204 in October, 198 in November. December was 147. So they've had this kind of downtrend here. And then finally in January, they were able to get up a little bit to 168, which was good. But you can also see then their BTC per exahash efficiency, that has also been coming down here. And it kind of bounced a little bit here in January, which is kind of good as well. So December was their worst month at 58.79. Now they're back up to 67, but it's not looking good for them right now. As far as revenue is concerned, January looks like they made about 3.4 million in revenue from 168 BTC being mined. They have only 115 Bitcoin. That is them selling basically 158 Bitcoin in the month. And that equates to about 2.6 million that they sold here. Oh, wait a minute. That should be down here. Let's see here. 115. they sold 3.9 million. So it looks like they sold 194 Bitcoin right now for 3.9 million in revenue for that. Okay. Miners, didn't get anything miners installed here. As far as institutions are concerned, 32, so a decrease here, and 51 million shares. That's a decrease also from 54 million. Percentage owned went down to 10.7 from 11.3. And we still have one hold rating, one underperform rating, and a price target of $6.60 and an average $5.80 and a low of $5. Now, I have them, we don't know what their number is going to be for Q3, and we don't know yet Q4 yet either. So we're going off the numbers here that we do have, which are the estimates for September ending quarter and December ending quarter, and then the June ending quarter is actual numbers that they provided. So right now we have an estimated 52 million for the year for the last 4 quarters, including the quarter that we're in right now. Based on that, a 50% net income from gross revenue, I'm looking at $4.31. They were at $2.18 yesterday. They probably were down a little bit today as well. I think they were down 13% or something like that. So given that, analysts had them at what? What do they have them at? $6.60. Yeah, I think maybe they're on the high end. I mean, that's basically on the 75% net income gross revenue part that I would have them at 647, if that's the case, with a PE of 10. Based that they're not growing much, I mean, they could still go up in value depending where Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin goes up a lot higher. They could also go up in value. It just all depends if they're able to grow or not. So with that, all that being said, it's unfortunate. Argo was looking to be a pretty bright miner, at least last year, and then everything that's happened to them since then, with higher electricity costs, having to sell their facilities, becoming basically mostly mining or hosting their miners with Galaxy now. It's tough. They're in a tough spot. So I wish them all the best, and hopefully they can get out of this and continue to grow somehow in 2023. But going forward, if they don't provide their numbers, like I said, monthly, I will take them out and we won't cover them until they start doing that. Okay, so that is it. So let's take a look at our next one. Next one is from Terawulf. So let's take a look at Terawulf here. Terawulf announces January 2023 production update and operations. Let's take a look at the numbers here that we do have. So self-mined 157 Bitcoin in January. It's an increase of 25% from December. They do have a deployed fleet of 18,000 miners, plus 2 exahash, and that includes hosting miners that they're also hosting. We'll get into how much they actually have. Power cost decreased in January to approximately 0.052 cents per kilowatt hour compared to 6 cents per kilowatt hour in December. So that's good there. And then the company continues to target a blended power cost of approximately 3.5 cents per kilowatt with the blended cost that they have from the 2 facilities that they do mine. Here is their table that we can look at. 119 in October, 134 in November, 125 in December, which was a little bit lower than November, and then an increase here in January, 257, which is good here. And cost per Bitcoin has been kind of, well, it went down nicely here in November, December, but came up in January to 19.9. Power cost has also come down from December, which is good. So at least that's happening there. Okay. Now, in 2023, their plan is to aggressively expand and efficiently operate our deployed hash rate as we receive and install the remaining miner shipments and ramp our 2 Bitcoin mining facilities with the goal of reaching 5.5 exahash of sustainable low-cost operating capacity in early Q2 2023. So that's within the next 4.5 months. So that would be fine there. Let's see production operation updates. Let's see here. Out of the 18,000 miners that they have currently installed, approximately 11,500 are wholly owned with a hash rate capacity of approximately 1.4. That's kind of what we have them at right now. And they talk about, let me see, the power costs. We already covered that. Severe weather, infrastructure, and miner energization updates. So they're looking to get to Q2 23 to get to the 5.5, and then expansion at existing sites. They are currently looking or evaluating options for utilizing approximately 130 megawatts of available expansion capacity at its existing sites for further hash rate growth. That would be good there. They got to first take care of their debt. So we'll see how they can weather that. And let's take a look at the numbers that we do have for them. So let's see here, Terawulf. Sorry. Okay. Shares outstanding, 169 million shares roughly, almost 170. Stock price is based on yesterday's price, 71 cents. It's down a little bit more today. Market cap is about 120 million roughly. And current hash rate is about 1.45 exahash. Future hash rate about 5.3 that I have them at least. They are currently 27% operational. Future hash rate growth about 270%. And their average hash rate per miner is about 126 terahashes. It's probably one of the better ones that we are currently covering. They don't hodl, at least they don't provide anything that they hodl, so I'm guessing they sell everything each month. And you can see that they have started mining this past year, but they've really ramped up here in the last quarter of 2022. And you can see that here with the production updates in October 119, 134 November, December 125, and now January 157, which is pretty good. And their efficiency has also come down a little bit here as we started to actually get better data on them. So they were at 94 BTC per exahash in October, 102 in November, 86 in December, and 108 in January. So that's actually pretty good there based on the numbers that we do have for them. So they generated approximately 3.17 million in revenue based on the Bitcoin average price for January. That's what I'm using there. And that's kind of what we're getting at for them. So that's actually pretty good. It's a good increase here from the 2.1 that they had in December. It does help that Bitcoin has gone up in price. As far as January, which miners got installed, so we installed some 140 terahash miners here, and that was about it looks like. And for some reason, I had to add, with all the miners that they do have, I have them running at 31 days for January, and I was still short $72,000. So I don't know if their hash rate is a little bit higher than the 1.4 that they're saying. Based on the amount of miners that they have. They said they have 11,500 miners. I have them at 11,520, and I still couldn't get to the numbers that they reported as far as mining for that. So this is the first time that's happened to me with the miners for some reason. Not sure what's going on there. Maybe they are a little bit higher. Maybe they're closer to 1.47 exahash. That would have made a difference of possibly 72,000. That was a difference, but this is kind of just where I have them at. I tried to figure it out based on the 140 terahash miners that they do have and the 100 terahash miners installed already. Trying to figure out that balance there. So that's kind of where we're looking at. Just to get up to the 3.179 million in revenue. And then as far as institutions are concerned, institutions did decrease here a little bit to 92 from 94. And shares went down also to 8.9 million from 9.4. Percentage owned went down to 5.27 from 6.48. We still have one buy rating and a price target of $5 across the board on them. Okay, so they still have quite a ways to grow, which is good, especially going into this year when Bitcoin could be possibly going up in value. That is a good thing for them. Now, as far as their revenue is concerned, we're using the current quarter revenue, which is estimated. We're also using the last 3 quarters, which are Q2 and Q3 are actual numbers. Q4 is an estimated number that I have for them. So that's kind of what we're going with. And then if we're using the 50% net income from gross revenue, PE of 20, because they are growing nicely, we're looking at $1.25 potentially. They are currently undervalued a little bit. And then 75% net income, we're looking at $1.87. But if they can continue to increase their hash rate quite nicely, which they have been since last quarter, let's see here, they installed approximately 150 petahash, looks like, in December, January. I didn't get any updates from that, so it looks like they're still billing out a little bit, so we need some more updates from them. Okay, so that is it. Terawulf is obviously one of the newer miners on the block here. They have been doing a pretty good job getting miners installed. We just need to see that continuing on. They do have a lot of debt. If we look at their debt really quick, down here, let me see here. Their debt to accrue ratio is pretty good. It's pretty bad. That's 1.54, and their current ratio is 0.15. You can see here the total current assets is 16 million, and their total current liabilities is 105 million. So they got to get this debt under control in order to move forward, I think, and expand even more, potentially over their 5.5 or 5.3 exahash that they're planning to get to. Okay. Other than that, it was a good month for them. Hopefully they can continue this going forward, and we'll see. So our next story is going to be on Cleanspark here. Cleanspark reports their first quarter 2023 financial results. This is a quarter that's ending in December of 31st for 2022. Their year ends September 31st of each year. Okay. So let's take a look at what we do have for them. We're going to just quickly glance over this. First quarter revenue of 27.8 million and a net GAAP loss of 29 million. an adjusted EBITDA of negative 1.4 million. They did mine 1,531 Bitcoin, a 130% increase over the same period last year. Now, difficulty has gone up tremendously, and I say this for all the miners, and they were able to pull back a little bit here. Now, I listened to the conference call that happened today. Here are some of the things that I was able to pull out of it. Let me pull this up here. No, not pull it up, but my notes. So, not a lot of information that we don't know already, but they are planning on getting to possibly, I think they said 12 or 14 exahash by the summer, somewhere around the ending of the summer. So, and they're looking to get the other 2 or 4 exahash that they need by the end of the year to get to 16 exahash. So they are working on that already. Electricity, they're seeing lower costs for it, so that's good there. And proprietary mining model is the way that they're going to go forward, it looks like. So they're going to stay away from hosting their miners with other companies. Lancium is obviously the one that they were looking to possibly do that for them. They're seeing still a possibility for a portion of it, but the majority of their mining they're going to do themselves. So that's good news. So they're going to build out and everything else. Other than that, there wasn't anything new in the conference call. So let's get into the numbers that we do have for them, and we'll call it a day. So we're kind of rocking through this pretty quickly here. So they reported, I checked the SEC filings today. They did file this already. So I'm using all the numbers that they have reported in this, in my spreadsheet in them, and in my spreadsheet we do other calculations as well, so that kind of helps out there. So I want to look at that really quick. Okay. Now, they reported revenue for the December quarter ending at 27,746,000. I had them at 27,740,000. I was off by $3,000 something, $4,000 in change on it. I was off by a negative 0.02%. That is fantastic. I think we'll see with the other ones if they come in this close. I think changing the Bitcoin, how we calculate the Bitcoin that they, not Bitcoin, but the price of Bitcoin for each month. I was using prior to this the end of the month Bitcoin price instead of the average Bitcoin price. I think using the average Bitcoin price for the month of each month has tremendously helped here. We'll see if this continues on with the other miners. If I'm also as close as I am with this, if that is, then that's a win. I've always wanted to get within 2.5% of what they actually report for their self-mining Bitcoin, not including any of the other revenue that they might have. So I'm really pleased with this. This is fantastic, and hopefully this continues on. So just want to point that out, and let's get into the Q1 numbers here. So some of these metrics here we'll get into in a little bit here, but here's what we have as far as assets. Assets decreased tremendously here. Looks like they went down to 2 million basically from 20 million. So there's a huge decrease there for them. They were pretty low in Q3 as well. They were at 2.6 million in Q3 and Q2 as well. So that's not too concerning. They were able to raise some cash or sell Bitcoin to get them up to the 20 million here. And let's see here. Now down here, accounts receivable also went down to 30. Well, that's pretty much stayed the same here. FY, this is for the full year. 27,000 in Q4. Q1 is now 30,000, so it's pretty close. Inventory is at 392,000. That's also pretty close. Prepaid expenses went down actually to 6.6 million from 7.9. And digital currency went way down, 3.8 from 11 million. Derivative investments also went down to 1.6 from 2.9. And overall, the current assets went down to 21 million from 50 million. So a pretty big drop there. And we'll see how they, well, I'm sure they're going to dilute some shares here to get some money for the investments that they want to go with the miners, building out, everything else. They're going to have to dilute some shares to get some capital into it. So that's still not too bad. It's the lowest it's been here in the last couple of quarters that we've been tracking them. The lowest was 29 million in Q3. But we saw even with that going down, they were growing tremendously from 2 exahash to almost 6.6 exahash by the end of the year. So that's okay. Total assets has increased to 486 million from 452, so that's good there. Property equipment increased. Let's see here. Operating lease rights of use, that went way up to 5.4 million from 550,000. And let's see here. Deposits and mining equipment went down to 5.8 from 12 million. What else went? Other long-term assets went up to 4.6 from 3.9. Goodwill, they had another goodwill impairment here of 8 million. Didn't have that in Q4, looks like. And let's see here. That's it there. Liabilities. So liabilities did increase a little bit to 27 million from 24 million. Operating leases liability went up to 260,000 from 112,000. Finance lease liability went down to 218 from 260, so that's good there. Contingent consideration, I haven't looked into what that is, along with current portion of long-term loans payable. That went out to 7.5 million and 4.8 million. Then we have dividends payable, 21,000, and current liabilities held for sale is 830,000. So total current liabilities of 41.6 million, and then total liabilities is 59.7 million. So that's been going up here. It looks like the last couple of quarters. As far as total current liabilities, that is the highest it has been in since we started tracking them. So we'll see how that gets taken care of going forward. Okay, now stockholder total liabilities and stockholder equity has gone up also to 486 million from 452 million, so that's good there. Revenues, let's see here. Revenues were 27.8 million for Q1. Q4 was only 26.1 million, so that is an increase, so that's good there. Given that Bitcoin has actually went down in price, what helped them out was getting a lot of miners installed in the first quarter of the year. So that helped them out tremendously. They're way down from where they started last year of 41 million. And Bitcoin was at 41,000, 50,000 at that point. So that's a given why that's down so much. And let's see what else we have here. Cost of revenue. Cost of revenue also went up to 20 million from almost 10 million here in Q4, which is also kind of concerning. We'll have to look into this, why this is happening in their numbers. Professional fees actually went up as well to 2.8 million from 817,000. Payroll went down actually to 9.8 from 13, so that's good there. General administrative also went up a little bit here to 3.7 million from 3.2, so that's not too bad. Other impairment charges of only 83,000, so that's good. Realized gain on loss was 517,000. Depreciation was 19 million compared to 14 million. That's been going up, and that's on the miners, so that's fine. And let's see here. Their gross profit minus depreciation percentage is 26.61. That is the worst that we've seen here so far. Prior to that was 61.84, 66, 70, and 78. So that has come down here. Then other income, let's take a look at it here. Unrealized gain on derivative security was negative 1.2 million. Interest expense was 889,000. So that's actually come up a little bit here from Q4 of 701,000. Total other income expenses was negative 1.6 million. Income loss before income tax expense or benefit was negative 30 million. So that is a little bit better than it was in Q4 of 38 million. And overall, net loss was 29 million compared to a negative 42 million in Q4. So that is a slight improvement. They had a 95, what was it? I believe it was 95 cents, probably not 95 cents. In Q4, 46-cent loss per share. In Q1, it looks like. And then basic and diluted shares at that time was 66 million and 66 here. Okay, so things have definitely changed on them, not for the better, but they have grown tremendously, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on here. As far as our metrics are concerned that we want to look at is BTC mined. They did mine 1,531 Bitcoins in Q1. That is a nice increase over Q4 of 1,227. Starting hash rate was 4.1 exahash. They ended up at 6.2 at the end of December here. So that is a nice increase of 2 exahash here in a really short period of time, 3 months. And BTC mined per average hash rate was 0.29. That is down a little bit here, and that's based on the network hash rate going up in numbers. So that's going to happen. Cost to mine 1 BTC also actually went down a little bit here. It looks like it went down to 37,000 from 39. And then if we take cost to mine 1 BTC minus depreciation, that went up a little bit here to 13.3 thousand from 8,000, which was their best month that they had so far that I've been tracking here. And let's see here, their Enterprise value, market cap plus debt minus cash is 294 million. So that has increased, so that's good there. Their debt to equity ratio, let's see here, went up a little bit here. Higher is better, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, right? No, lower is better. So higher is better on current ratio. So they were, in the current ratio, they're at 0.5 right now. They were at 1.49. So I'd like to see this get improved a little bit. They really don't have enough current assets to pay off current liabilities. That's basically what it tells us right now. And their book value right now is 427 million compared to 404 million. So that's good. That's been increasing as well here. And their price to book value, price to book ratio is 0.597. And I believe, I have to look at that. I can't remember if higher is better or lower is better. Correct me on this one. And then when we look at their revenue and general administrative compensation, we can see that it is at 48%. So it has increased here, or actually decreased from the Q4 quarter of 65%. So that's good on that part. So overall, mixed numbers a little bit. The only thing I can say is it's great that they're growing. We're going to see some more dilution, I think, before all of this is said and done. But if they can get it to 16.6 or 16 exahash that they want to get to by the end of this year, we are going to see dilution, I think. They still have a pretty healthy balance sheet, not a lot of debt compared to some of the other miners. And hopefully they can continue to execute it like they have in 2022. That's the only thing I can say. Let me know what you guys think of the numbers. I'm not a financial guy. I just kind of look at it, see if I can compare things from the prior quarter, see if they're getting better or worse. They have gotten a little bit worse here, but they spent a lot of money in buying Mawson. They spent a lot of money buying the miners and all this stuff. So I'm okay with it as long as they're doing it for growth and not just doing it to, pay their salaries. So I'm okay with it. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, the spreadsheet is going to be available to my Patreon members. Thank you to everyone there. Thank you so much for watching. I know it's a lot. We still have a couple more miners that I have to go through for the production updates that I'm behind on because I was sick. So we'll get to those possibly tomorrow. We'll see what else happens tomorrow. Also, I have a spreadsheet I finally finished up on taking a look to see how the other miners performed. The miners that were actually trading in the last bull run before the halving event of 2020, how did they perform before the halving and after the halving? And when is a good time to maybe sell the miners potentially? Is it better before the halving or after the halving? So that's coming up as well. I was going to do that today, but we had just so much stuff that I had to get through that I didn't have time. So we'll get to that tomorrow. All right. Thank you so much again. And if you guys enjoy the content, hit the like button, subscribe. Hit the like. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.